Hi, Patrick.
Hello.
I just got back from Instagram. Oh my gosh, I feel naked. I don't have a hat on. Thank God that I'm not naked for everyone else. But
Hey, at least you have hair.
I do have, yeah, at least you're not looking at the back. It's starting to go away.
Mine's all gone here.
5 children. It's all gone.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, all right here in the middle. Yeah.
Well, maybe it'll grow back.
I
Maybe.
don't know.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, so we were a little late because I was going through Amazon batteries to try to make my headset work. I found some. A little out of sorts here, Patrick, so we have to work with me for a minute.
No worries. This kind of thing happens. Look, folks, you're going to tune in with us. Some things are going to happen sometimes. We roll with the punches. You just got to learn how to do that as an announcer. Not everything is always like a nice cup of lemonade on a summer's day, you know?
No, and today it's not. Today is a summer day, but lemonade is the last thing I should be drinking. I got a hold of you yesterday and said, holy crap, do you know tomorrow's Wednesday? Diamond Cup week just throws me for a loop because literally last Wednesday, right before the show, I was at the racetrack and pretty much been there ever since.
Yeah, it was from what I saw you posting, and I'm sure you've got stuff. I think you said you've got stuff you still haven't posted. It seemed like a whirlwind of a weekend, and I was jealous. And I watched on Flow on Saturday when I got home from work. So me and the boys caught a little bit of things, some good racing going on. And I just want to know all the details.
Well, and that's the cool thing is the show itself, the racing itself was, we weren't pulling any cars out of the fences. We didn't, what's the word I'm looking for? There was no carnage, which is good when you're super modified and sprint car racing.
Because you've had carnage before.
We've had carnage before. And it was nice, Wednesday there was a few cars practicing. It was an open practice before we did our show with Kurt. And then Thursday night practice went rather flawless. I mean, nobody blew up, nobody crashed. It was like come Friday morning, everybody that rolled into town, they were ready to race. Cars were in one piece and they were ready to go, and that doesn't always happen.
So can I ask you some questions?
Definitely.
So
please do.
When you've got an event like this, it's 2 nights, right? So you have people showing up Wednesday for practice, possibly. Are there certain cars that like these guys are going to be the first ones to roll up? Kind of like church, like who's going to be the first one to show up, and they're always in the same spot. And is there racers like that?
There is. You'll usually get, it's like Wednesday night before our 3-day show, before our 2-day shows. The Wednesday night edition, I guess, is open practice. So for the folks down in Twin Falls, you guys always practice the Friday night before it's open practice. Meridian's always Thursday. But for the big 2-day shows up here, Colton and Adam and Brent and the crew save Thursday for the cars and classes that are actually involved. So on a Wednesday or Thursday, you're Canadians. We had the Jeff Kennedy racing team, the number 5 super mod. I mean, they roll in like, top of the line motorhome and beautiful hauler and race car. They're always there. Like this year, you've got your rookies, Andrew Palmer, trying to get his bearings in that machine. Riley Rogers and the Boise Bath crew, they're always out there. They always seem to be some of them. So yeah, you'll see some of them that are going to be out there. And then, I mean, come Thursday night, Peyton and I were walking the pits. We did a Facebook Live for the Speedway. It felt like a race night. There was 60 cars in the pits that night, and they're just rolling out. So,
and are there drivers?
It's cool.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, you're good.
I was going to say, are there drivers that are going to be the last one? Like they're always the last ones to show up, like last minute?
Well, yeah. You can get my butt kicked. No, like in our local classes, Travis Pavlak, he always comes in at the end and then goes out and kicks everybody's butt, just waxes them in your local mini or Hornet class. Tommy Harrod in the crew for a local class. They bring in like 8 million Hornets all from their own shop. So, they're always making like 14 trips before they get all their cars there. But when it comes to your touring guys, your sprint car, your super mods, your trucks, it seems like those drivers are dialed in, man. They are locked and loaded, ready on Friday morning. I had to work Friday, and I got out of work as quick as I could. And you get there, and they've already had breakfast. Their cars are, if we would have said at 10:05 in the morning, hey, practice starts at 10:10, I think 98% of those guys and gals are already ready. It was cool because all of our friends, all of our raced in bowling, Natalie and the crew were there. You're like I said, we had Jimmy White from Canada in the Supermod, and what a weekend, man! And then when you get to Friday and Saturday, it's a whirlwind. I mean, we were standing there Saturday night when it was all over. I was talking to somebody there by the IHRS trailer, and it's like it's over. Like we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now all of a sudden, people are loading up and going home. So I want you up here to experience it in September with Pink Lady, because it's for a racing fan, a racing person. Yeah, it's the best. But it's like anything that you look forward to. You look forward to the World Cup, and then next thing you know, it's over. You're like,
Yeah.
so excited, and then it's gone. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good weekend, I think.
What are some of the highlights for you that
So
you saw?
Highlights, I really, even growing up watching racing at that track with my dad, I always thought it was crazy and cool. We're not that far from Canada, right? To me, though, as a little kid growing up, Canada's a whole different country. I think I was like 16 before I realized Idaho touched it. You know what I mean? But it's cool to see. We didn't get a lot of them this year. The Canadians had a race the weekend prior, so you didn't get a lot of the sprint car guys that we usually get. Pink Lady, they'll be back, but just the way things kind of combine. I loved seeing Jimmy White come in the Supermod. It's the guys that really tow. Jim Burgess, the California guys, Art McCarthy. Those are the highlights for me when I walk into the place. And then it's the family aspect, or the friends. It's the Waters. It's Riley Rogers and the Caps family. It's always good to see the stinker store cars of DJ Lyons and Corey Lockwood. I mean, these are kids. That makes me sound old, but I've been watching these kids race since they were in Outlaw Carts, with Corey and those guys. And so, yeah. Highlights, though, the cool thing about Diamond Cup weekend is it's not only the Diamond Ring. We also, with the super mods and the Mark's on here, I'll be putting an interview on later tonight. Peyton and I think, did 10 or 12 interviews. And because Sunday I was recovering, not alcoholic wise, just tired wise. So I don't think I'm recovering. But after 3 days, obviously I still can't talk, which makes lots of people happy. But still recovering Sunday. Monday, you go back to work. And like I said, then yesterday I'm like, holy crap, Patrick, we're doing a podcast tomorrow. So we will put some interviews on. Mark Pasquale and his family were there. These are the cool parts. And shut me up whenever you want. But these are the cool parts, because not only is it just the big weekend, the 2-day show, all the cool stuff, we're running in memory of Mark's dad. So somebody gets their name on that trophy forever. I mean, when your kids come up to Meridian in 2050, they're going to see the names of these guys that you and I get to meet and talk to. Bob, Tom, and Glenn Naylor, huge racing family here at Meridian. The Super Modifieds on Friday get to run in memory of them. Bob's daughter and I went to school together. We were friends and acquaintances at the racetrack when he lost his life, and the family. And so, the Super Mods have a really cool opportunity at Diamond Cup. 2 cool memorial trophies for 2 amazing families and 2 people that support local racing for decades. And it's really cool. And then sprint car night, heck yeah, it's so hard because you always get asked, even like when you and I talk on here, it's like, I always want to say, who's going to win? Who's the favorite? And then you walk through the pitch like, boy, I'd like Natalie to win. Oh, Brian should really win another one. Man, Corey's had bad luck. I hope he wins one. You go through, and next thing I know, I've got 21 cars in the pits, and I've got 21 people that really should or deserve to win it. So, yeah, and then just Mark and these folks, just getting to see them the once or twice a year. During the off season, we all don't talk very much, but it really is friendships that you start to build with these people. So yeah.
Okay,
Real
so
quick, though, let's get everybody to, like these guys are doing. Jump in and talk to us. Ask us questions. Tell us what you thought of the weekend. I mean, it's just me and Patrick tonight. So yeah, you guys join in. So like Russell did, Jeremy's hanging out with us watching.
what's up, Jeremy?
Jerry Waters is
Hi,
watching.
Sherry.
We'll talk a little bit about their weekend. It wasn't so great, but still, they got to hang out and be with their friends. So, Kay, we met Kay. Kay came from Utah. She does some drag racing stuff. We're gonna get Kay on here too, but she does a lot of podcasting and social media. She was doing some social media for Jeff Kennedy Racing, which Jimmy White from Kamloops, British Columbia, was driving.
Okay.
It was cool to meet Kay. She go on her site. I'll share her page with you too, because she interviewed TCLs at the IHRS trailer. She talked to Tyler when she found Tyler out on the racetrack hanging cameras. I got the opportunity to kind of, because I'm just such a dummy, a sucker, a fool, whatever the word is. If somebody wants to look at that racetrack, I'll give you the tour all the way around. So Kay was excited to go. I don't know if she enjoyed the whole thing, because then I really got into this is the booth, this is the beer barn, there's the men's room, there's the ladies' room. This used to be, this is where I bought licorice when I was 7 years old. Now I have to buy a T-shirt there because I'm not 7 years old. All the crazy stuff. So, but yeah, everybody just definitely jump in and join us. Kurt Kern, our good buddy, talked to us last week. So, yeah. Anyway, now I won't interrupt you, but I just want everybody to join in if they can.
Yeah, you're good. If you're watching the show right now and you saw some of the racing, I want to know what were some of your favorite things that you saw or disappointments. I want to know what you guys think. If you watched from home or if you were there, either way, because I caught some of the action from home. So I decided to join YouTube tonight. Thanks, Jeremy. So I saw Andrew Palmer in the sprint car.
Yes.
This is his rookie season. Is this first time ever open wheel for him?
Yeah. I mean, Andrew comes from a stock car family with his dad, grandpa, and aunts and uncles. Yeah, he's ran that car a couple of practice nights, and they've used the track. But as far as on track competition, tire to tire, first time ever for the kid.
And have you talked to him about it after what he
Yeah,
what he thought, how he felt?
He won his heat race. So he jumps in, he practices, he qualifies, he gets in his first ever sprint car heat race and wins it. After night number one, we were talking to Andrew, and even though sometimes Andrew thinks I hate him, I love him like a son of my own. He's going to be a great driver, and his personality is awesome. A great kid to be around. Yeah, he was just smiling from ear to ear. What can we, maybe we need to change some shocks. Maybe it can go a little faster. Maybe, I felt really comfortable. And so, yeah, Friday night for Andrew was, I think, everything him and Colton and the crew would have expected, and then some more.
So do you think that he's going to keep doing this? Is he going to keep in the sprint car?
I think so. It sounds like it. I didn't pry too much, because Saturday he was in one of the few incidents that we had on track, and he was bummed. Not bummed that Riley Rogers was outside of him and they made contact. Andrew was bummed that he, it was a racing thing, whatever happened, but he got into Riley and he ended Riley's night, and Riley was out of the run-in for the diamond ring by about 30 points. I mean, he would have needed everybody. He was in 5th place. He would have needed the first 4 to explode motors every lap, But Riley is a heck of a driver, and he's driving that car. So Andrew was just bummed, and it's a racing thing, and it's, it happens, and everybody, So, but I really think that the crew and everybody, I think they'll get Andrew, Jacob, and all those guys will get Andrew back in that thing, and I hope to see it. I mean, why not, right? Go race some sprint cars. Maybe you'll see him in Twin Falls later on in August.
Well, I'm saying I feel like we see him in a lot of classes already, and to add another one, and it's such a different style. It seems like it's got to be so difficult to not just drive the vehicles, but to understand the nuances of how they perform and how to make adjustments for each different class that he's in, and to keep all those things. And because I'm sure, some of the stuff probably carries over no matter what class you're in, but some of that stuff has got to be so specific for each type of car and stuff. I don't know. The dude's just got natural talent, and it's, of course, he's from a bloodline of pure racers. So that, that's just the Palmer family, I guess, but it's incredible to see.
Yeah, he does well, and he'll learn and he'll adjust, and he's got, he's got Colton Nelson and Adam and the crews and the friends and the people helping him. They will get it. They'll get him to that point. So, but Andrew did awesome for first night out. Friday night, we had a couple of comments on here. We'll talk about Natalie Waters. I mean, she, came out of the gates. Was doing an amazing job. Now Shelby with Scent Savvy are one of our sponsors. So Natalie did not make night number 2. She finished 7th in the main. Saturday night, motor problems Friday night. And yeah, Natalie's not a very good spectator.
She's not built for it.
Not built for that. And that's totally understandable. But yeah, these, and that's the hard part too, is it wasn't, not that, flying your sprint car through a fence would make it any easier, but it's just the little motor gremlins. Her, Corey Lockwood, defending champ Mike McGurdio, 3 of the heavy hitters and the favorites. They didn't even make it till Saturday, and it was by no cause of their own other than just some, I don't know, bad luck, motor luck. So, but we'll see. I know they're headed to Colorado for 4th of July, and they'll be down there for Skunk Cup. And I just heading home tonight, just on off note before we get back to Natalie and the cars. The Pit Stop podcast has been approved for full access media rights at the Open Wheel Showdown in Las Vegas. So, if Diana wants to let you go on a trip in November, I'm going to Vegas. DJ says, come on down, grab a access, a media pass, and let's go, wander the pits, interview these drivers. They only have 64 sprint cars signed up.
That's it.
64. The Legends. They only have Kyle Busch and his son running Legends on that weekend, along with 36 others or some god-awful amount. It's crazy. So anyway, DJ Hamilton, we're going to have him on. I think him and I decided today we're going to bring him on like 2 times before November. But thank you to DJ and the Open Wheel Showdown. If Patrick, maybe as I'm flying over Salt Lake, you can just like meet me and we'll just go and just tell Diana, Brett and I are going to dinner. I'll be back Sunday. Right?
Yeah,
Thursday
we'll
night.
figure something out.
So anyway, that's exciting because I haven't got to go there yet. But we'll see a lot of these. We'll see the Natalies and the Coreys and the McGurdios. I'm sure they'll make the trip down there. Sherry wants to know if you got your banner. No, Sherry. I do know that Jerry and Mary from Overture Photography, when you see Spanky next time, he's got some stuff for you. They hooked us up this weekend, so we got some cool stuff. So other than that, let's see. Russell Hill said something about he was in the pits. Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. That's a good point, Russell. The crew at Meridian Speedway and Magic Valley Speedway, go ahead and throw us 15 super mods and 21 sprint cars and 10 trucks and 33 Hornets or whatever we had. It was a very smooth running show. Everything got, everybody got every lap. We had lots of comments and complainers a few weeks ago when that didn't happen because stuff just didn't go right. But they just ran a 2-day Diamond Cup show. No laps were cut. Everybody got the full deal.
And they got fireworks too.
And we got fireworks. And we gave away 2 big memorial trophies. And we gave away a diamond ring. we saw a young man from Middleton, Idaho, just jump out in one of the Jimmy Waters cars and kick everybody's butt. And Hunter Stanley. Hunter had a heck of a run. So yeah, you watched it. I mean, highlights. It was cool to see Hunter Stanley do what he did. It brings tears to my eyes to see Brian Wharf be able to celebrate another diamond ring with his young daughter hanging out on the front stretch with him. Brian deserves it after what they went through, losing Scott a couple of years ago, and everything kind of. You don't know where you're at when the backbone of your team unexpectedly is no longer with us. I think Mandy and Lemoyne and Brian and that whole crew have really stepped it up. So he's got a main event victory. He's also got a diamond ring in 2025. That's a pretty darn good start.
Yeah, I mean, it's Brian Wharf. He's the god of speed, is what I've been calling him. He figures it out. You put him in something, he's gonna be fast.
Well, years ago, you got to see him down there in Salt Lake, right?
Yeah, I'll never forget. Fastest lap ever on that 3/8 mile oval there, and so that's just something it's a memory I have. I'll never forget. And some of the things that happened that day. So I just knew, even from the season before that, when Brian Wharf would come on track to qualify, even in practice a couple times, I remember the general manager, Mike Eames at Rocky Mountain Raceways, he's a drag racing guy.
He's a drag guy, yep.
Yeah, not as much as a circle track guy. And when he would come up to the booth to make sure to watch, it's like, okay, who's he here to see? Oh, there's a 91. Okay. And when he's watching and he's got his paper and he says, we're watching for, lap time 12:09 or whatever, you know what I mean? And then you start seeing him push it. And that's Brian Wharf. He's always going to be fast. But when I was watching on Saturday, it was one of those things where it was like you said, anytime I saw a move happen, it was like, ooh, if he wins, ooh, it's just one of those things where you could see anybody happening. And then Hunter Stanley, and it's just like, man, I remember this was back in 2019. I remember I was working at a wrap shop, and we had the sprint car in the wrap shop getting wrapped for Hunter Stanley, I believe. And I just remember thinking, man, it's so cool that these kids, him and Natalie, oh, look, there it is right there. I got the picture.
Yep. There you go.
Back in the day, Jimmy Waters bringing it up there and getting it wrapped. And it was a fun race to watch there on Saturday, seeing it. I feel like Hunter Stanley was doing all right. And I turn around and then next thing he's up front. I was like, holy crap, this kid could do this, So yeah, it was exciting.
He wasn't only up front, he was gone.
Yeah. I mean, once he got up front.
Yeah. Everybody else was making it through traffic. I mean, we started 17 cars on Saturday night, 21 on Friday. Yeah, Hunter took off.
But that car, even in years past, because I was just looking at my memories before we started today. I was up there for Diamond Cup 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing that car in practice. I believe I might still have the video of it on my phone. And I talked about this in one of our other shows. If you get the chance to be up near the front row of the racetrack when those cars go by, I was up there in practice with that car going by. And it's just like, man, they're all fast. But I remember being like, that car, and Anthony Quintana was driving it. That car is hauling the mail.
It moves.
Yeah. And, is just crazy. So when I saw that car win, I was like, yep, doesn't surprise me. I've seen that car up close. That car's fast.
Yeah, it is a fast one. So yeah. So I mean, the racing was good. Kay enjoyed the tour. So Kay, you need to come back up for a Pink Lady Classic night. It's kind of a Diamond Cup on steroids a little bit sometimes. And yeah, we'll get you back there or Skunk Cup in Twin Falls. That's another big 2-day sprint car show that's still on the calendar.
Yep.
Now I'm excited.
Skunk
and I only get to come for for Friday.
It doesn't stink.
It doesn't. Yeah, there you go. It does not stink.
Anthony was so fast. Yep. Anthony's a good driver.
Yeah.
And Hunter is too, But if you got a sprint car and you got Jimmy Waters involved, you're gonna be all right.
Oh yeah. It is
anybody with the last name Waters, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. It's what they do. They win. Right?
It's what they build fast cars and put good drivers in them.
Put drivers in them and they cruise.
Yeah.
Hey, so we do want to thank, speaking of that real quick, and then we'll get to some more Diamond Cup review, the race to bowling. Always cool to be able to help them out, and we appreciate their help helping us. So to be able to see the family down there, it's cool. Overturf Photography, like I said, Jerry and Mary are going to decorate that wall behind Patrick. You got a couple of cool things, one or two things, but it's pretty cool. And Jerry and Mary were so awesome this weekend. I love them to death. I wish we could see them. Wish we could make them move to Idaho. We could see them more. But
where are they out of?
Washington at one point. I want to say Jerry might want to California right now. I think they're from Washington. Family in California.
Figure something out.
So we appreciate them. Performance Science and Graphics helping us out. Scent Savvy, Idaho CDL Training, and Western Cargo Services. I need to send a message to them. Their banner, they are one of our Meridian Speedway sponsors as well. One of my clients. Their banner got ripped, apparently. We took it down to fix it, and they forgot to put it back up. So I know sometimes she's watching. I got your message. I was just crazy at work. We're putting it back, and it's going to be in a prime location, and I might have some surprises added to it. So sorry that Western Cargo Services banner was not there for Diamond Cup, but we'll get it back. So one of those things. I'm sorry. We'll figure out something. We'll give you some free popcorn, maybe a couple buckets of beer. I don't know. It's on me. It's on me for dropping the ball. I usually make a trip that 3 or 4, sponsors that I've sold. It's like, okay, there's that one. There's that one. I didn't do it this year. So anyway, yeah. So we had an awesome weekend. Mike McGurdio, defending champ, motor, boom. Natalie, motor gone. Corey Lockwood.
Well, so hold on. Natalie's motor's not gone, right? But she said there was oil, right? So there's like oil in the spark plugs, right? Yeah. And so she kind of didn't blow it up, but they were like, hey, let's save this thing, right? So that's got to be such a hard call to make, to have to say, hey, maybe we could try, but let's not. And to make the choice to sit out the Saturday night, that had to have been so hard.
Yeah. Oh, so that's what I was going to tell you. So I'm sitting up there in the booth. Shelby texts me and says, so this is right when sprint cars are the next race out. So I'm getting ready to go down and, we're going to push them out. We were doing a drift competition. The Apex drifters were there. We appreciate them. But Shelby says, you know what would be really cool? Is if you had Natalie in the booth announcing this race with you. And I'm like, that would be awesome. But that could be a little heartache for Natalie, too, to be announcing a race that she should probably be in the top 5 running in.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Natalie to announce a midget race or something one of these nights, either down there or up here when she's in town. So, motor's getting refreshed as we speak. So she'll be ready for Colorado.
Very good.
That's the next big sprint car deal for those drivers in the Northwest is the 4th of July weekend at Colorado.
Sweet.
I believe we're already talking about 4th of July.
I mean,
a couple weeks away.
I love the 4th of July, but part of me at the same time is like, that means we're already this far into the season.
Almost halfway.
Yeah.
You can believe it. Almost halfway through. That doesn't even seem real. So, Corey Lockwood was running away Friday night. I mean, nobody was going to catch him either. He had his foot on the gas. He was going to go probably into Saturday as the points leader for the sprint car portion of the Diamond Cup. And with 2 laps to go, the Corey Lockwood's horrible luck that he's had last year's motor gone. Pulls off the race team, pulls off the track over in turn 2. We had to go yellow to help get him out off the track. But it's a tough break for Corey. They loaded up. Then they all helped the Lions, who had a great night. So, Supermods. Let's talk Supermods, Patrick.
Okay.
Kurt Kern, Mark Pasquale, the JP Memorial, Jim Burgess, Bobby Dalton tied for the Jeff Russell Hard Charger Award. So thank you, TJ. It's all those little things, it's all the little, here's $250 here. I mean, us at the Pit Stop Podcast, we're on, we threw some money to Kurt, so we got the logo on the posters and the t-shirts and all that. Just to try, every little bit helps for those super modifieds, because those are cars that you can't just go down to Advanced Auto Parts and buy a front end piece.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have somebody who knows the old school way of putting things together.
Yeah. Darren Schneider, I would say, was probably the only true tragedy. Beautiful orange #0 car. Got loose out of four, drove it nearly head on, 45 degrees into the front stretch wall, heavy damage. He walked away, which is always the main point. But probably the only catastrophe, I guess, of the car. Kenny Hamilton took a pretty good spin and backed into the wall. I didn't get a chance to talk to Kenny and those folks afterwards, but yeah, I think those two are probably about the only two. And then at the end, Randy Anderson kind of got run over by Art McCarthy. So, there's a few of them that had some incidents. Big shout out to the guys at Meridian Speedway. Chuck Argon was on the camera. Really his first full. He's always our turn 4 guy, but he's up on top for the rest of the year. And being a videographer with super modified sprint cars 15 plus at Meridian Speedway on a Diamond Cup night, Chuck was a busy man.
Yeah, that's a lot going on, and you have to watch everything and know where to point the camera at the right second, because everything happens so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be on your
toes. If you guys are watching, though, tell us what your favorite part of Diamond Cup weekend was. Just drop us a line like TJ Best said about the Hard Charger. On Facebook, Natalie Waters on Saturday night got to hot lap the Hatch Super Modified. So she didn't race it, but they put her behind the wheel of the Super Mod that Matt Elliott pilots.
Yo, and I was thinking, watch out, Grandpa John, because if she's going to fall in love with the Super Modified, I mean, the cost probably just goes up, right? So I'm like, hey, easy, because she obviously can do it. And because I think a lot of people might look at Natalie, because she's a small lady, right? Like, but you see in a little video she posted up doing 5,000 pull-ups by herself. You know what I mean? Like, she's strong and she can handle those things
by herself. Is that because you and I, if we're doing 5,000 pull-ups, you're gonna have to be lifting me, and then we'll switch?
Yeah, I have to have somebody like lift my legs. And I'm like 1, 2, like that. So it's like only 2 or 3 people.
Your shoulders up, so they don't see that we're helping.
That's how I do it. Yeah. I can't do them by myself. Can't.
Yeah. No, I used to, but I don't anymore.
Yeah, see, Natalie loved it. Yep, I knew it, man. Watch out. But if she does go into a super, we want in as a sponsor. We want in. We want on the car.
We're going to hook that up, because we're going to get millions and millions more viewers, and we're just going to be able to buy 6 tires.
I'll have to do whatever it takes. Like, we'll have to wash a bunch of people's cars in the neighborhood, get some cash together.
Lemonade stand.
Yeah, either that or we're going to have to make that calendar we were talking about. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we may have to do the sexy announcer calendar and sell it for $25 a pop. We'll at least make 50, because I'll buy one and you will. Okay, here we go. Mark Pasquale. I knew he would have something. He was watching the whole thing. Bobby Dalton, an 1104 behind the wheel of that 31 Super Modified. So that was cool.
Dude, 1104?
That's all in the mail, man. That's moving. Yeah, there was some stories after the races on Saturday night. Some that we were hanging out down at the Waters Crew for a while. It's amazing what a sip of moonshine makes you remember over the last 2 decades, and then we all just talk about it. But I won't share any of them on here. But if Sherry wants to share anything about any of those amazing stories about maybe a race car driver falling in a ditch, maybe somebody being carted up to their room on a Hotel Bellman cart, I don't know. There's all sorts of things. That's as far as I'm going with that.
Hey, Hold on, let me tell you this.
Nope.
I used the internet to help me figure this out. 11.04 seconds, and the track is a quarter mile.
Yes.
That means average speed is 81.53 miles an hour. Now you got to take into consideration the turns.
Right.
Most people go 80 miles an hour on the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being on the freeway, hard left.
They'll be like you driving to Twin Falls, and Diana all of a sudden grabs the steering wheel and cranks you and the kids to the left without you letting off the throttle.
Yeah, we're rolling past Rupert, and then all of a sudden, like that's or hitting the exit by Declo,
and then you're gone.
And that's what they're doing.
I just don't think people get it. It's just that's why these folks that are on here with us and that we watch every weekend, it's an adrenaline rush. It's an athletic sport. I mean, even the minivan would wear your arms out going in a circle at 85 miles an hour. My pickup would kill my forearms doing that.
Yo, and people have laughed at me every time I've been in like a pace car, a race car. I don't care what kind of car, because I get scared because they're taking turns at freeway speed, people. I don't know if you realize what that means, but think about it. Freeway speed turns. If you're just a normal person, like I think I am, we're not ready for that. We're not built for that. It reminds me of I read this is kind of weird. Sorry, I had a class back in the day where I was reading about when they're building the railroad, trying to connect the railroads across the country, whatever, and they did it, and then people were starting to use the railroad, and it said like people were getting sick because they said the train was going fast when it was going like 8 miles an hour. People were getting like nauseous or whatever because of the speed. And we laugh at that now, right? And I think that like race car drivers must look at me like that, like, oh, this kid's getting nauseous. He's only going 81 on the turn.
That's it.
And I was probably only going like 50, but yeah, this guy's getting, what a weeko. But that's just how it is. You know what I mean? It's just, you're not ready for it.
It feels like 100.
Yeah.
One of our former guest last week, was also honored on the front stretch with the Kurt Kern Lifetime Achievement Award, recognizing his passion and commitment to super modified racing. Kurt Kern got that award. Mark Pasquale, Michelle Lonsdale. I know there was probably a few other people involved, but very deserving for one of these people that is always there, and he's always involved, and he's always going the extra mile plus another mile. So very well deserved by Kurt Kern.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, and from what little I know, is just he's that guy that's. I mean, when we talked to him, he just said he wanted to have a good time. He's just looking to build a party, and look at that! Look what it's turned into. Yeah,
and for a guy that's only probably in his early 40s, he's been a part of it for decades. You're welcome. No. But go on to the Super Modified Reunion page. I love reading, especially this week after, Jim Burgess and Holly and now Kay and Mark and Kurt. Go on to that page. Kurt wrote a cool little thank you to everybody, and it just brings it full circle to what this all means. The Casters had a pretty good super modified weekend at Meridian. Jason's highlight was watching Richie take the lead. And you just talked about the speeds and all that. I don't think people understand in the super modifieds, they're so much wider. They're a little bigger car. So yeah, when Rich Castor is going around, another super modified to take the lead, there's not a lot of room on that racetrack left. They're using up some asphalt. And they're going an average of 80 miles an hour.
Yeah. So on the fronts, they're triple digits, easy.
They got that thing, Lord. So we appreciate the Castor family for coming from Colorado. They've been that family. Those couple of cars that they always bring, they support the super modifieds. They support the super modified reunion, and they support the JP Memorial Classic. So thanks to the Castor family for always being there. You asked me about who are the first cars you're going to see, or who's the first cars that are going on the racetrack. The 4 and the 2, they're the first ones rolled out of a trailer parked back there, and they're the ones that, if for some reason they're not there one of these years for mechanical issues or whatever, there's gonna be that missing spot. So Cody and Rich, and then obviously their entire family, Rosie and everybody. So and that's what I mean. Those are the ones you just can't remember them all. I mean, you don't want to leave anybody out, but if Jason wouldn't have mentioned that, I probably would have forgot to mention our Colorado clan that is there each and every year. I mean, if it says super modified, those guys are there. So
yeah, good, consistent people.
Yeah. But I did want to congratulate Kurt on that award, because that's cool, man. I mean, there's so many people that have put their life into racing, whether it's an official or a director, a promoter, a driver, a dad, a mom, a brother. Gosh, you just wish there was an award for everybody, because a weekend like we just had, we could line them up all the way down the backstretch and say each of these guys deserves this for whatever they've done. I mean, Brent Cool, Speed Tour, NSRA. He's the Meridian's, operating manager at Meridian Speedway. He's one of those guys nobody ever talks about. But I tell you what, a lot of open wheel things would not have happened without Brent being able to do that. Is that your cat or mine? Because I have a cat.
Oh, you heard that? Yeah, that's my cat. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
If it was mine, that meant my dog just ate it. So I'm really glad it's yours, because they're both running around in the living room. There's just those unsung Mr. Terry Benson. He's I don't know. That's a whole nother show. It's a whole nother show to go talk about the non-race car drivers anymore, because most of us that are involved out there have at least sat in. I mean, anything. Sat in a pace car, sat in a sprint car, won a championship, lost a championship, rolled over a Hornet. We've all been there. I mean, you and I need to get together, and we need to do a whole nother show on the non-race car drivers that are keeping this sport alive, because we could do a full month on that, and we'd still probably leave somebody out by accident, and you don't ever want to do that. But yeah, so those guys are all cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of folks that I think people don't realize, right, how much it takes. And we can say that, a ton. We do. We will continue to say stuff like that, because we have an idea of everybody that it takes. And some people are where they are because just passion, love for the sport. Some people are, I'm sure, do some of the things they do out of love for somebody, even though that means they end up taking a bunch of crap that they'd probably love to step away from. But they do it because they've made a commitment to somebody, and the racing family are some of the most dedicated folks you'll ever meet in your life.
100%. So, and a weekend like we just had just goes to show you that passion is still there, the love is still there, the people are there. We also did a tribute to Ron Evans. We talked to the Evans family earlier this year after we lost Ron. This event was Ron and Rogine Evans. If there was a car that needed pushed anywhere in the entire Northwestern Canada, Ron and Rogine were there. The family got their original push truck out on the track. It's a beautiful yellow Chevy. I think Dakota was driving that, if I remember right. I was trying to remember everything. Troy and Rogine and the girls were in Ron's truck, and it was nice. It was cool. There's a picture that Terry Hassan took showing both of Ron's trucks leading the sprint cars down the backstretch. I think I put it on one of our posts. So go through our posts and look. Cool picture, means a lot. It was nice to give one more moment for that family, because that's it. It was just a given. It was like I just told you about the two Colorado cars. I mean, if you roll into an open wheel event, Ron and Rogine were there. It didn't matter if you were in Wenatchee or Tri-Cities or Canada or California or right here 6 miles from their house in Meridian. They were always there. So, Bill Bertzel, longtime official of everything open wheel. You're welcome, Bill. Bill is the best. So when the super modifieds are here again and you're announcing with me, Bill Bertzel gives you everything. I got to, when I was doing qualifying for announce, I could tell you, because Bill did it all. It had nothing to do with me other than I was reading it. What kind of chassis, where the car was from, who owned it, what motor, what, how many championships Kenny Hamilton has, or Richard Castor, Bill, like, literally makes me look smart. And Bill, that's a lot of work to make me look smart.
Dude, some people can carry that weight, and so he must work out at Iron Body Fitness. Those are the people, seriously, that make our job so much easier and fun, because we know that there's going to be enough info for us to cover whatever we need to cover, and like you said, it makes us look smart. So, Mr. Bertzel, thank you for what you do.
And it does, and especially when we are on a flow or a Speedcast broadcast it, you can't always hear what we're talking about in the grandstands, but if you go back and watch it on TV, you're going to hear it all. And that was one thing when I was looking at Bill's little format he has for me. I really think I'm going to try to build that for every car in every class. And granted, you're not going to get everybody to fill out all that information, because some of them are like, I don't know, it's a Hornet, it's a 1989 Dodge Neon that I stole from my grandma. I don't know what, but when you get into the vintage and the sprint cars and the prolates, and so thank you, Bill. I appreciate it, and appreciate all your help too, because that helped a bunch. Sherry Waters might not work on the car, but she works just as hard keeping it all together. I agree with that.
Listen, if you've seen the Waters crew, Sherry is an integral part of what goes on. Can you imagine the disorganization that would be going on if Sherry wasn't with them?
No.
Like it would be a mess. Listen, you can't have just all guys running the show. It'd be a mess.
Yeah. Sherry, Natalie, keep it rolling, right?
Yeah.
The ladies in charge.
They keep things looking good. Do you know what I mean? So, and Sherry is like the aunt that you wish you always had, like when I was growing up, I played like basketball and whatever. She's that lady that you want at your game, because she will scream and she will cheer and make you feel like you're the best of the best, even if you suck, Yeah. See, she said it. It would be chaos. I know that. I recognize that. I'm saying it right here in front of everybody. So Sherry's needed. We love Sherry. If you don't know Sherry, you should know Sherry. You'll love Sherry too. Love you, Sherry.
Yes. Amazing group. So yeah, I mean, that was Diamond Cup weekend, man. I mean, it was, I want to thank our partner at Flow Racing for streaming it out. Peyton Banks, dude, this kid started off working at the scales a few years ago, and he has catapulted his social media racing career. He runs our stream. He's helping on the camera if needed. Him and I are just kicking through a million interviews, and he's right there helping us out. So Peyton, thank you, along with Chuck and those guys.
I have a question.
Yes.
And we didn't talk about this. I didn't know this was going on. I'm watching the race on Flow. Mm-hmm. You guys had a camera on the track for driver intros?
That camera was Tyler's cell phone.
What?
Yes. A few years ago during the 208, we figured it out, because the Idaho 208 always has a 104 lap break where cars are changing tires. And Tyler, we got down there, and that was Tyler Shield raw footage, which I love because it was kind of raw. So how did that look? See, I never get to watch that part because I'm always down there.
You got to go back. It was incredible because I'm watching it, and I remember, so Diana's, and she's like knitting, doing her craft thing, whatever, boys are in there with me. And I'm like, wait. They have like a mobile camera out here on the track for driver intros. I was like, we need this in Twin. How are they doing this? Who's on the camera? How is this working? I was like asking all the questions. Diana's like, I don't know.
Tyler Shield, he uses his phone. Friday night of Skunk Cup. Let's do it. We'll hook it up. We'll figure it out. Tyler and Peyton know how to do that from up there. We'll get down on track. We'll follow. And like I said, when we first did it, it was kind of like, oh man, I don't know. It's kind of choppy, but it was raw. It was like legit. There's Natalie Waters. Natalie is strapped into a sprint car that's just about ready to explode with horsepower, and you're getting that look as she's ready to go. So yeah,
I'm telling you. Oh,
I always forget because I always see Tyler right around me, and I try to stay out of his way. But yeah, it's on his cell phone, tied to Speed Cast and Flow.
It looked good, and we need that perspective because, like you said, they're in their cars, and sometimes the drivers will wave. They can't do a whole lot of movement, so they'll give a wave or something. But that camera was right there, and you could see it was awesome.
Yeah. So Tyler is the king of that. So Bill just wants to Ricky and Brian Otts. Brian Otts got his name on the Naylor Memorial Trophy.
Oh, very good.
That was another cool one. Brian came in from Texas. Shout out to his kids and wife that were back home watching. I mean, it's all this, the guy comes up and now that name is going to be on the trophy forever. And that's a trophy that's been going since the 80s, mid 80s. So there's a ton of names on there. Hamilton's, Veenstra's, Johnson's, all of them. So yeah, thank you, Bill. Congratulations to them. I'm ready to do Diamond Cup again. I'm ready because I don't have to buy motors or tires or travel halfway, 5 hours up I-84 to do it. But yeah, I mean, for me anyway, thank you to Adam and Brent and Kurt and Mark and all these racing families, and because Dirk and just a million names. You're going to forget one, but everybody that helps put this thing together and makes it a show, including the drivers and the wives and aunts and moms. Thank you for making that another. It's my 20. What did Adam and I decided? It was Adam and I's 16th or 17th Diamond Cup, with Adam being the promoter. It would be my 23rd as an announcer, and probably. Well, the bad thing is, Patrick, is I was there for the first one in 1989 as a child. Okay, I wasn't a child; I was a teenager, but I was there. So just me personally, I appreciate all the folks that put it together, and all the folks that sit there and listen to my big mouth. And it runneth over even on Wednesday, so I appreciate it.
No, you do a good job, and I know too that events like this. So Magic Valley Speedway was dark that night, no race there. I know that there was folks from Twin, or that are normally working at Magic Valley Speedway, like our friend Spanky, that I know he was up there at Meridian Speedway, and I'll bet you he was, they're just one of those guys that whatever you needed him to do, he was just there to help, and he helped make the show happen quietly, not looking for any recognition, just helped out with whatever. And those are the things that I like to look for to those folks, because it's like, man, those people in the grandstands won't know about it, but they make a difference for the show. I love it.
Yeah. And I think as we just take those people for granted sometimes. Like I said, you turn around, it is the Ron Evans, the Roger Tildens that we lost this year, the Dan Breaches. It's the people that are going to be at a racetrack if you're at that racetrack. And it's I don't want to say expected, but you're just, you expect to see them. Nobody expects them to do anything, but they all do it, right?
Yeah.
So, this weekend though, I'm not going to make it out there because I got another 2-day show at Meridian Speedway, 2-ish day show, but Black Canyon Raceway is having their Gem Cup. So I want all the outlaw karting people to go support Andrew Richardson and the folks out at Gem Cup at Black Canyon Raceway. They don't do many 2-day shows with the outlaw carts, but they do this one, and I hope that Andrew and the crew have a great weekend out there. So real quick before we run out of time, Meridian Speedway this weekend. It's Dairy Days. So Sunday I went to the racetrack to take my last couple of weekend pictures because I was actually having kind of a lot of fun doing that. And I remember, but I forget because my brain is still circling from Diamond Cup weekend. As I'm pulling into the racetrack, the local carnival is pulling into the racetrack because it's Dairy Days starts tomorrow. So they set up the Ferris wheel and the tilt the whirl and the knock the clown down game, everything in the parking lot of the racetrack. So cool part about Dairy Days, there's going to be dairy cows and goats and all the stuff that I grew up with. So that's my heritage of being a part of that all those years. Friday night, Patrick, it's just Dairy Days destruction. We are going to go demolition derbies. I think if it all works out, we're going to have a big car demo and a little car demo, which means like a Thunderdog demo and a Hornet demo. And I know there's a couple other things. I just know that if you like Eve of Destruction, Smash-O-Rama, it's not going to be to that scale, but at 7 o'clock, there's going to be some crashing and some banging, and then you can go right back out into the park and the carnival and enjoy a Dairy Days demo. And then there's a couple other things I think that the guys have planned that you're not going to want to miss.
Right
on. Saturday night, Idaho CDL Training, one of our sponsors here. It's Idaho CDL Training Dairy Days races. So a big part of the Dairy Days celebration. So Dairy Days, Patrick, they got a carnival, the horse or the dairy barn that's actually under the North End grandstands. That's why they call it a dairy barn, is because for 3 days out of the year, it is literally full of cows and sheep and goats. So, I mean, it's what it's for. And the kids are showing the cows and sheep or the cows and goats on the infield, like Thursday, Friday. Saturday morning is the parade. Speedway is going to have some entries in the parade. We'll cruise down Meridian in one of the largest parades in Southwest Idaho. And then we go right back to the racetrack. Pit gates open at about 2 o'clock. And then we're going to go Idaho CDL Training demo or Dairy Days races. And should have practiced, but I didn't. Zamp late models, Idaho CDL Training Street Stocks, Vintage, Boise Bath and Kitchen Minis, and the Hornets. Not an early start, though. It starts at normal time. So just a good old Saturday. And then at the end, there's some cool stuff to wrap up Dairy Days that you're not going to want to miss. So it's kind of the grand finale of the celebrations. And then we go back to Twin Falls the next weekend, right? You got some racing. You got one more week off?
Yep, one more week off. So got to get ourselves ready, but it'll be good. And then we're back. I was just looking at it for Pacific Steel and Recycling Lucky Rides for kids. So if you've got kids and you want to maybe give them a little ride in a race car, not fast, super slow, safe, but come on out the 28th to Magic Valley Speedway. Going to have modifieds, late models, Idaho Vintage Racers, street stocks, mini stocks, and Thunderdogs. So it's going to be some fast thrills and some Thunderdog spills. It's going to be good.
And after Dairy Days races that following weekend, everybody needs to go to Twin Falls. We're going to be dark at Meridian that week, so we're all going to head down to Twin and enjoy races down there, and then we'll be right back at Twin on July 3rd, and then at Meridian on July 4th. So, then you're into the summer. So yeah, like you said, we've got a race this week. We're all going to go hang out in Twin next week, and then you are talking 4th of July, 3rd and 4th. So we'll be back in Twin on July 3rd.
Right.
Yes, July 3rd, and then after the fireworks there, I'll head back down and we'll do Meridian on July 4th and doubling up back at Black Canyon Race on July 11th. So I don't want to talk about July yet. That just gets me closer to being older. Jennifer wants to know, go on to the Meridian Speedway Facebook page or go on to the Meridian Speedway website. I did not look, but go on there and check. It was updated today. So I'm not quite sure how much it is, but I know that there's a story on it on the Meridian Speedway website. It gives you your admission. And Donovan Barr just says, when I see you next time, Patrick, it's time for a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, yeah. Modifieds, 28th.
Yeah.
Could happen again.
So what do you got in closing? You got anything? I kind of hogged your show tonight. So next week, it's all yours. I blabbered.
No, you're totally good. No, there was one other thing. Dang it, I was just thinking about it. Oh, one other observation from Diamond Cup that I appreciate. The moment the checkered flag flew on that last race, there was maybe 0.2 seconds of a break. Fireworks. They wasted no time. You weren't down on the track yet. I was just like, race was over, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he won. Boom, 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 boom. Fireworks going off. I was like, goodness gracious. Brent hasn't even done an interview. He's got to do an interview with fireworks show going on.
I did. I interviewed Josh Finopoulos, who finished third that night with the fireworks popping. But it's the environment. It's the
someone was trigger happy on that fireworks switch.
Yeah.
As soon as they saw checker flag, they're like, fire, fire, fire.
That's funny. Because we used to do it where we would do the interviews, we'd hand out the diamond ring, we would, it's about a 5 to 10 minute deal, especially if they're still trying to figure out points. I mean, the points going into that last race were like the top 4 drivers in the chase for the diamond ring were separated by 5 points going into that green flag. So it could have been Kyle Alberding. It could have been Casey Tillman. It could have been Evan Margison. And it ended up being our good friend, Brian Wharf. But those 4 guys, I mean, Brian knew what he had to do. Brian had to beat those other 3 guys.
Yeah.
Whether they were 9th, 10th, and 11th or 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Brian had to beat them. And he did it. So, and Kyle Alberding, shout out to that kid. Damn, that kid shows up. And he gets so close every time. He drives all the way from Roseburg, Oregon. And he's always right there. Kyle, you're going to get another one. I know. Yeah. Keep coming. Keep pushing. He'll get another one. So, yeah, fireworks pretty cool. So, yeah, a few years ago, Adam's like, you know what? By the time we do all that, the fans are already wandering to the pits. Then we shoot fireworks off. Then you got to be careful if there's any fans walking across the infield while you're shooting the fireworks off. It was a NASCAR K&N race, I think, the year that we just were like, what would happen? The checkered flag flew. We don't have to turn off the lights or anything because people are just excited. And we start blowing crap up. And I think it's cool. I think it's a great spectacle. It's a great environment to finish a big night. And then by the time we talk to everybody and the bombs have went off, we all go to the party in the pits, and some of us didn't go home till 4 a.m. Not saying who that was.
Holy cow.
That's right. I'm young. We can handle that.
Young enough?
Young enough to do it, right? So, yeah. Next week, talk a little bit about what's going on in Twin Falls on Jeremy. Jeremy says, when is the Idaho 208? Jeremy's going to race in the Idaho 208. I have a feeling. Jeremy, the Idaho 208 is in August.
I think I saw a picture of a trophy for that.
August. Yes, the Water Tower trophy is the coveted 208 trophy. 2025 Napa Auto Care 208, Idaho Central Credit Union, August the 2nd. Speed Tour modified rules. So, Jeremy, if you're getting a modified race ready, it is a Speed Tour modified rules, 208 laps. Late model streets, Pro 4s, Thunderdogs, Bandos. August the 2nd. Expect to see Jeremy White at Meridian Speedway.
Dude, I love it.
Only 208 laps. Come on.
Jeremy can do it. Yeah.
Give you a break at 104. I would need a break every 4 laps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be for a long. That might make for a long night. So yeah, we went a little over, but it was Diamond Cup weekend, and I appreciate the folks jumping in, talking to us. Hang on. Shane Prince says, I have to have a few 4 a.m. all-nighters at the racetrack just so I can tell my kids that I did it.
Dad still got it.
Yeah, Dad still got it. And then I'm like, can you guys please leave now? Because it's Sunday and I'm going to sleep till 6 p.m. I'm going to get up, take a shower, and eat dinner, and then I'm going back to bed because got to work at 6 o'clock. So we still got it. And Bill Birdsell, yes. See, Bill's been around. Bill knows this stuff. Rick Brown, 5 NSRA championships. Andy Alberding, 4 NSRA championships. And Kyle is going to get. Kyle even does some dirt sprint car racing. So the kid does everything. But Kyle's going to get another diamond ring. Keep pushing, man. Keep pushing. He's going to get another one.
Yep.
Okay. You good? Did I totally? Next Wednesday, 8:30, you're in charge.
All right. No worries. We're good.
You're in charge. The 2 nights of racing in Meridian Speedway. Demo, come down, enjoy Dairy Days. I'm going down there tomorrow. You're going to eat tacos and food truck, and there's live music in the park and the parade. I don't know. Maybe I'll dress up as a checkered flag or something. And
ooh, nice. Send me pictures.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be Mr. January in the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Sorry, I can't multitask.
It's all good.
There's too much going on. So yeah, next Wednesday we'll talk about the big show at Magic Valley Speedway. Flying Brian Schaefer, super modified gentleman out of the great state of Utah. Kay is going to hook us up with Brian. We're going to talk some super modifieds here in a couple of weeks. I told her a day and I forgot already. She'll remind me.
It's all good.
It was a long weekend. I think we're going to talk to him like July 2nd. We'll have him on the show.
Cool.
What a great host I am, right?
It's all good.
Oh, last thing before we go. Next week, we're going to get phone numbers together and we're going to start reminding everybody of our show. Spanky's helping us out. We're going to get that up and running this week. I didn't have time with Diamond Cup stuff, but you guys let us know. We're going to bother you, and then if it bothers you, tell us not to bother you anymore. But we'll send like a text. Maybe you'll have like a sexy Patrick voice saying, hello, this is the Pit Stop Podcast.
Hey, baby.
Yeah.
Podcast tonight.
I'm just waiting for comments. Nope, they all like it. Okay, everybody's
all right.
Nobody said no. Spanky's late to the party, but that's all right, Spanky. We know you got to go to work. Everything we said about you was good, right?
Yeah, go back and watch it. Yeah, rewind to the show when we're done
Rewind,
here. Yeah,
rewind it and watch it. And yeah, Kate, July 2nd, we're gonna have Flying Brian Schaefer on. So appreciate Kay for helping with all the social media stuff.
Thanks, Kay.
And Jimmy and Sherry Waters, congrats. So yeah, everybody had like great weekends. So for all of our sponsors, though, we want to thank them and all of our great racing friends and family. Thanks for watching us tonight. Sorry we kept you up to 9:45. Patrick has to go to bed. I should have been in bed.
I got homework. I got a final project I got to do tonight, so I'm going to be up late.
Patrick needs to go. Okay, next Wednesday, we're going to preview the return to Magic Valley Speedway. A couple weeks off. We want to see what's going on down there. We'll chat a little bit about that. And you guys are all going to be notified. And if you want to be notified, send us a message. Give us your phone number. We'll get you on there. So for the Race 10 Bowling, Overturf Photography, and all of the folks that had anything to do with the Diamond Cup this weekend, thank you for joining us on the show. We'll see you next Wednesday night, Patrick.
See ya.
Okay. Later, guys.